Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening, my dear attendees. Thanks so much, Dr. Isra, for this kind introduction. It's my pleasure to be with you today. Hello, our attendees, Ms. Aida, Ms. Ghada, and Ms. Sarah. Welcome all of you to our session, and we hope that this session will be fruitful and appeal to your perspectives, inshallah. So today we are going to talk about one of the main categories in multiple intelligence theory, which is linguistic intelligence. And we are going to discuss the relationship between teaching vocabulary and this type or this category of intelligence. And inshallah, we are going to recommend some innovative techniques for teaching vocabulary in the context of multiple intelligence. So, but before we start, I'd like to ask you this question. From your point of view as a teacher or as a university student, why is teaching vocabulary essential? So this question is for you, just to warm up and to just to exchange the discussions. Please, if you would like to participate, don't hesitate to raise your hand and speak out. So why is teaching vocabulary essential from your point of view? I'm ready to listen from you. Okay, Miss Aida, go on, Miss Aida.
Okay, I think that vocab is the gate which enable my student and me and myself to communicate with others and to express my feelings, my ideas, and so on.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Miss Aida. Any further answers? Ms. Ghada, Ms. Sarah, what do you think? If you would like to participate, you can write in the chat box. If you wouldn't like to speak out, you can write in the chat box. So why is teaching vocabulary? Okay, so let me just simplify it. When we talk about the vocabulary, we are talking about the essence or the soul of language. And do you think when we teach our students English, do you think it's easy for them to practice skills without vocabulary? Do you think that they are easy to make a conversation or make a writing or even read a passage without knowing the vocabulary? So we are talking about the base of any language, which is vocabulary. Okay, so my next question is, do you think there is a relationship between teaching of vocabulary and multiple theory or multiple intelligence theory? Okay, so you know how many levels in the multiple intelligence theory? 5 or 6 or 7? Do you know the types of intelligence according to Gardner? Okay.
Social, emotional.
Yes. What else? Okay. So normally we have eight types of intelligence, which is linguistic intelligence. Also, we have logical, mathematical intelligence, spatial intelligence, musical intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, naturalistic intelligence. We have mainly 7 types of intelligence. So do you think there is a relationship between vocabulary and linguistic intelligence? Yeah, you know, linguistic intelligence, it means your ability to use your language, either your mother tongue language or the foreign language. Do you think there is a relationship between teaching vocabulary
Sure.
and linguistic intelligence? Yeah, in what
Sure.
aspects? In what aspects?
Vocab is the tool of using language, or it's the base of using language.
Yes.
How can I use? How can I practice my language if I don't have enough vocab to do that?
Excellent, Miss Aida. Yeah, good. And according to logical mathematical intelligence, it means it's the ability to analyze or carry out mathematical operations. So there is a combination between logic and the mathematics. Okay, in the logic, we use the vocabulary just to elevate your ability of critical thinking and to know how to categorize or rank the problems or the surrounding environment. So all aspects or all types or categories of multiple intelligence have intensified relationship between vocabulary. So vocabulary is not only basic for learning or teaching language, or even it's very important for teaching the multiple intelligence. Okay, so today I'm going to recommend you some very innovative techniques for teaching vocabulary. But first of all, I'd like to look at this flow chart and tell me, what do we learn from these percentages? So this flow chart describes the division of vocabulary or words according to their categories. So we have high frequency words, academic words, technical words, and low frequency words. Okay, can anybody tell me what do you notice from this chart? Do you have any comments here? Okay, so this chart is, or it shows or illustrates that vocabulary is very important, and this vocabulary is divided into four categories. So some vocabulary are highly used by most of people, and the vocabulary of this portion makes 80% of the whole vocabulary, followed by academic words. And in academic words, it's like the words that we use in academia or in your study. For example, you are studying in science department. So the words in science departments are academic words. So you study in tourism, in political, in some academic fields. So these types of vocabulary are called academic words. And we have technical words. Technical words like jargon. Do you know that this concept, jargons? Okay. Jargons. I'm going to write it in the chat box. Jargons. Has anybody heard about this before? Jargons. So what is jargons? Yeah, okay. Yeah, jargons, yeah. So what does it mean? So jargons, it means the definition of some terms. For example, in English literature, so we have, for example, you can talk about the omanotopia. So omanotopia is an example of jargon word. Also in linguistics, so you're talking about cohesion and coherence. So some of these words are called technical words. And the low frequency words, it means the words that may be driven from another language or used in colloquial aspects. So they form 5% of the whole vocabulary. So this chart shows that vocabulary is very important. And when you teach your students vocabulary, you should be aware of the words that are widely used in their daily life expressions or in daily life situation. So don't focus on academic words or in jargons, and forget that some words are used in general life situations. So please, when you teach vocabulary, even you are teaching jargons or academic words, don't forget to include your process with the high frequency words, high expressions, high idioms that are used in their daily life expressions, because we need to relate our students to the real life situations, okay? So as I told you, I'm going to give you some techniques which will help you to enhance your competence of teaching vocabulary. And the first technique is narrative writing. So narrative writing means that you teach your students how to compose or how to form in a shape or in a form of a story. For example, you ask your student to write a story about what did he do last week, or to arrange some actions in sequence or in order. For example, what do you do every day? Okay, or you ask him about a problem that needs to be solved. So he is going to describe the problem and how can we solve the problem. So this is the aim of the narrative writing. Okay, and in the narrative writing, you enhance your students' level of critical thinking, of presenting words, and also of synthesizing these words. So interact or narrative writing is a very good examples of teaching the HOTS of Bloom's taxonomy. It means to analyze, to synthesize, and to reflect what he wrote in the shape of narrative writing. Okay, so my question is, do you think that teaching narrative writing to our students in governmental school or in international schools is easy or difficult or a bit challenging? What do you think? Okay, Aida, would you like to share Aida again? Okay, I saw you raised the hand, Aida. Okay.
Yes.
So what do you think? Yes. Do you think teaching narrative, if you don't like to speak out, please write in the chat box.
Okay.
Yes. My question
like.
is, do you think that teaching narrative writing is easy or a bit challenging for our students? Okay, Sarah or Mr. Afifi? Yeah, Mr. Afifi, would you like to
Hi, Dr. Ahmed.
participate?
Hi, Dr. Ahmed.
Habibi, Mr. Afifi. Yeah.
I think it is a challenging. It is challenging because teaching narrative writing needs a student that is able to write a good sentence, a correct sentence, and he also needs an imaginative student to imagine a story, to imagine events, and be a good storyteller.
Yeah, excellent, Mr. Afifi. Thanks so much for your ideas. I think I agree totally with Mr. Afifi. Yes, teaching narrative writing is somewhat challenging for our students, especially for EFL learners, because you are asking him to bring out ideas, to synthesize these ideas, to analyze the coherence between these ideas to the plot of the narrative writing, to show how these sentences are coherent or are in sequence. So here in teaching narrative writing, you enhance or you work on the higher skills of your students. So be careful when you teach narrative writing to your students. You have to bring them mind maps. You have to bring them outlines, something to outline the ideas. You have also to show them how to synthesize the writing. Also, you can provide them with some examples they can follow in the first stage, then they can create from their own. So be careful when you teach narrative writing to your students. By the way, this is the first step or the first technique to enhance your, and of course, brainstorming is very important, Dr. Isra. So this is the first technique to enhance your students' level of learning vocabulary. Okay, so the next level is discussions and debates. So why are discussions and debates important in teaching vocabulary? Okay, so when you teach vocabulary, you teach idioms and expressions. For example, today you are teaching your students the expressions of request and offer. So they are exposed to some idioms used in request and order dialogues or situations. So to enhance their awareness of these idioms or these expressions, you can assign a group work or a peer work and let them make discussions or make them make debates. So this is a very good idea or a very good technique to make your students exchange ideas, respond to another, and the most important point is that they are using contextual meaning of the words. And don't forget that by using discussions and debates, you enhance their cooperation and you create an environment of collaborative learning. Okay, so my question is for you. So this is a question for you, my dear attendees. So what is the best activity that you can use in your classroom to activate debate and the discussions. Is it role play? Is it مثلا group work? Is it a peer review technique? So what kind of activity, what's your philosophy of using discussions and debates in your classroom? So this is a personal opinion for you. Okay. So my question again is how can you adopt debates and the discussions in your classroom? So Dr. Isra shared with her opinion that you can use all of these techniques. Yeah, you can use group discussions, you can use peer review technique, you can use also role play and other techniques to activate. Okay, so what about you, my dear attendees? Would you like to share with your personal opinions? How do you activate yeah, Mr. Afifi, go on, my dear.
Yes, it's raising hands.
I can ask my students to discuss how can they use these idioms or expressions in their daily life and imagine a situation. Then I may ask them to write a situation or a conversation using these idioms. I may ask them to write some examples or some sentences they can use these idioms, and they may use these sentences in their daily life.
Excellent, Mr. Afifi. Again, I totally agree with you. And don't forget, my dear colleagues, that teaching debates and discussions is a very good way for teaching speaking, but also while teaching speaking, they embed or they include teaching vocabulary. So because vocabulary is the essence or the base of any other skill. So again, it's a very good way to enhance your students' vocabulary and speaking skills by group discussions and by debates. So the third technique with me today is podcast. Okay. And don't forget that our students are exposed daily to technology, especially podcast and vodcast. So what is podcast in education? Podcast, generally, it's a series of digital media files which are presented on social media in a form of audio and video. And if it's in the form of audio, we call it podcast. And if it's formed in a video shape, we call it vodcast. And we can use these two types, either podcast or vodcast, in a way that, or in an educational way that make language easy for our students. Okay, so before we talk about the benefits of podcast in teaching vocabulary, can you tell me some examples for podcast, either in general or educational podcast, like what? What are the most famous forms of podcast on social media? Is it YouTube? Is it Facebook? What are these forms or means? Okay, Mr. Afifi, would you like to share?
I think there is an application which is called podcast. We can listen or watch videos in teaching English, and also there is, I think, Anglo Adil by Adil what Anglo I cannot remember, but the name
Ibrahim
of
Adil,
podcast.
Ibrahim
I
Adil.
always mean.
Ibrahim Adil, yeah.
Yes, Ibrahim
Yes,
Adil.
yes, Ibrahim Adil.
Yeah.
Ibrahim Adil has podcasts which are يعني fruitful and beneficial for teaching English.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks so much, Mr. Afifi. And also, Dr. Isra said YouTube, TikTok, and TEDs also are a good example for podcast and vodcast. And we have Spotify if you need to talk about some general types. We have Spotify, we have also SoundCloud. All of these are very famous and popular among our students. They can use in teaching and learning English. So what are the benefits of podcast? Yes, it's easy for them to access these podcasts from any time, any place, using any means of social media. Also, these podcasts are easy to use. No need to make designs or to register even with password. Just what you need is to log on the website and download it from the link. Also, we can combine between audio and the visual, and it's easy to download or use these podcasts in your mobile phone, and it's ubiquitous. Ubiquitous mean it's widespread, can be used in any form of technology. Okay. So at the end of our session, I'm going to recommend you some websites or some links. These links are very important to enhance your ability of teaching vocabulary, and they are very beneficial for your students. So the first link is WordTune, and Khan Academy and the Flow Vocabulary. WordTune, Khan Academy, and Vocabulary. So, is anybody of you familiar with these websites? Has anybody of you used these websites before?
Yes, I used Khan Academy, so it's amazing.
Khan
I use
Academy?
yes, I use it with my kids and also with my students. So it's really amazing.
Okay, so Miss Aida, can you tell us about your experience for Khan Academy?
I
It's
don't use it before. I didn't before use it.
So he's talking,
Didn't use.
Miss Aida or Dr. Isra?
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
Dr.
that's me.
Isra.
Yes, yes.
I'm
Uh,
so sorry. Dr.
in-
Isra, can you tell us your personal opinion about
Yeah,
Khan Academy?
exactly. So Khan Academy, you can use it with especially very young learners. You can use
Yeah.
it through the mobile apps. If you cannot have the apps, so you can use the PC, and there is there is an app on PC so that you can use the Android applications on the PC. What is the benefits in this application, so that you can find lots of stories, and the stories include some new vocabulary, some new vocabulary are highlighted for kids, so they could understand the meaning of the new vocabulary through some activities. So it is not, and also you can find colorful stories uh, and
Yeah,
activities
excellent.
also attached with the stories. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
excellent, Dr. Isra.
Yeah,
And
I love it.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, and don't forget, my dear colleagues, that all of the activities uploaded on Khan Academy are categorized into levels. So you have beginner level, intermediate, and upper intermediate,
Exactly,
and
yes.
advanced.
Yes,
So
exactly,
you can
yes.
choose the convenient according to your student's level. Thanks so much, Dr.
Yeah,
Isra.
thank you, dear.
And Vocabulary is a very good platform in which you can present vocabulary in a shape of music. Yes, it depends on using music and hip hop music and the video to engage students in learning vocabulary. So, besides the hip hop music or music videos, you have lesson plans for teaching vocabulary. So you can easily download the lesson plans from these websites. And also, it grants you or offers you some interactive activities like quizzes, like games, also like some games and some materials that can help you in teaching of vocabulary. What I advise you to do is just to go through these links. I'm going to write these links in the chat box so that every one of you can use it. Just okay. Yeah, so here in the chat box, just try to visit them. Also try to use them. Some of them or most of them are easy to use and also are free of charge. What you need to do is just to look on the website or on the link. Try to browse the contents of each website and also try to use and select some materials which are and adapt these materials according to your student's level. And I think you will admire all of these websites. So, my dear colleagues, we come to the end of our session today. So, and really your comments matter. So please, if you have any comment, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand or talk or write in the chat box. So do you have any comments?
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. You are great.
Habibi, thanks, Habibi.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. You did a great job, and thank you for sharing such
You are
wonderful
welcome. Yeah,
websites and
you are
tools.
welcome.
Yes. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
helpful. Yeah, they are really helpful for young learners. Thank you very much.
yeah, you're welcome, Dr. Far. Yeah,
we are looking forward to getting more lectures, Dr. Ahmed.
Yeah, of
inshallah,
course.
Habibi.
Yes, of course. Yes. Inshallah.
So we have Dr. Isra lecture after this session, inshallah,
Oh,
if you need to stay with her. Yeah.
okay.
Ye- Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed.
Yes.
Yes, for this wonderful session.
Thanks so much. Yeah, doctor. Thank you.
By the way, the meeting will finish after 4 minutes. We can rejoin again. In our session, we are going to talk about, yes, the difference between multiple intelligences, learning styles, and how could we as teachers um, identify our students' multiple intelligences, and how can we choose the suitable learning style for them. So we have here wonderful strategies and activities, and also some tools that you can use as a teacher, or you can distribute these tools to the students' parents, so that it's gonna be easy for you at the beginning of, yes, school. You have to get the learning styles of your students, so that you can choose what is the best way for them to which approach for them that you have to conduct in your classroom. So okay, so I'm going to share mine. So can you see my screen? I think yes. Yes. Can you see my screen? If you can see my
Yeah,
screen, please thumb up. All right, that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. By the way, here we are going to talk about the differences between learning styles and multiple intelligences, and we are going to talk about each of them and strategies, activities, and how could we test our intelligences. Before we start, I'd like to tell me, or just to chat, if I know that every one of us has a special talent. So what is your talent? What can you do the best others cannot do? What can you do? Dear Ms. Aida, Dr. Ahmed, Ms. Amani, Ms.
Yes.
Basma.
Come again, doctor, please. So what's your question again, please?
Okay, what's your talent? Or
Talent,
what? Yes,
skill.
what's the thing that you can do the best?
I hope it's teaching.
Teacher, wow, that's so
I
amazing.
hope,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
that's
Yeah,
great. By the way,
but
yes,
as a teacher, I hope it's teaching, but I'm not sure about this. Yeah, I can't
Amani
judge
also, Ms.
whether I'm
Amani
a good
says
teacher
that
or not.
teaching.
Yeah.
So I think that you are amazing teachers. So yes,
Thank
I
you,
can
doctor.
envy you, and I can envy your students that, yeah, they have you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much,
So what
Dr.
is the
Isra.
differences here between multiple intelligences and learning styles? By the way, one common misconception about the multiple intelligences is that means the same thing as learning styles. And actually, at the beginning, so I thought that they are the same. However, multiple intelligences represent different intellectual abilities. However, the learning styles are about the approaches that you are going to uh, introduce to to produce to your students. Here, according to Gardner's, here multiple intelligences here, the theory of multiple intelligences suggested by Gardner in the early of 1890s, 1980s as an alternative way to traditional classroom designs that as a need for a variety of ways people learn and understand. So here, Gardner assures that learners don't have a single intelligence, and you have to be aware of that students don't have single intelligence, but a range of intelligences. So all people have these intelligences, but in each person one of them is more pronounced. So we have the all 8 intelligences, but we have one, yes, dominates the others. Okay, so we have less than 1 minute, and we can rejoin again because we have amazing things to